In the dusty heart of a forgotten village on the edge of a sprawling savanna, under the relentless African sun, lived an orphan named Kofi. Kofi's world was small, confined to the boundaries of the village where the echoes of his ancestors whispered through the baobab trees and the ancient lands that cradled their roots. His parents, claimed by a fever that swept like a cruel wind through their home when he was just a toddler, left him under the care of his aging grandmother, Nana Afia. Nana Afia was a repository of village folklore, her stories woven with threads of wisdom and the magic of old. Kofi, with eyes wide and a heart open to the mysteries of the world, hung on every word she spoke, especially at night when the fireflies danced and the sky donned its starry veil. It was during these times that she told him of spirits and ghosts, souls that walked the thin line between the seen and the unseen. One tale that Kofi could never forget was about the sister of the wind, a ghost said to wander the village, mourning her untimely death and searching for her lost brother. Nana Afia whispered this story with a tremor in her voice, suggesting it was more personal than the others. "Why does she search for him, Nana?" Kofi would ask, his young mind grappling with the complexities of ghostly existences. "Because, child, love binds us beyond the realms of life and death. She cannot rest until she finds him, until she knows he is safe," Nana Afia explained, her eyes lost in the crackling fire before them. Years passed, and Kofi grew from a boy to a teenager, lean and tall, his skin kissed by the sun, his feet familiar with the earth's contours. Despite his grandmother's age, her mind remained a vivid tapestry of tales, but her body weakened. Soon, Kofi took over the daily chores, fetching water, tending to their small garden, and listening to the murmurs of the wind. It was on a night veiled by a new moon when Kofi's life twisted into the threads of the tales he so loved. He was returning from the river, his path lit only by the stars, when he felt a chill, a whisper of wind that seemed to call his name, "Kofi." Startled, he turned around, his heart pounding in his chest. There, beneath the ancient baobab tree, stood a figure, ethereal, translucent, shimmering under the starlight. The figure was a young woman, her eyes pools of sorrow and longing. "Who are you?" Kofi breathed, his voice a mix of fear and awe. "I am Amma," the figure replied, her voice a gentle breeze. "And I have been waiting for you." "But why? How?" Kofi stammered, taking a cautious step back. "Do you not feel it, Kofi? The pull of the past, the echo of our bond," Amma said, moving closer, her form becoming more defined, a ghostly beauty cloaked in the mysteries of the night. Kofi's mind raced. Nana Afia's stories spun around his thoughts like a whirlwind. Could this be the sister of the wind? His heart ached with a sudden, inexplicable sorrow. "You are my sister?" he asked, the words heavy with a mix of disbelief and dawning realization. "Yes," Amma said, a tear made of mist sliding down her cheek. "And I have watched over you since the day I was torn from this world. Our story, our bond is tied to this land, to the spirits that guide us." Kofi, feeling the weight of centuries in her words, reached out. His hand passed through hers, a poignant reminder of the barriers between their realms. But in that touch, he felt warmth, love, a connection that transcended the physical world. As the night deepened, Amma began to recount her memories, their shared past woven into the fabric of the village, of a brother and sister torn apart by fate, now reunited under the watchful eyes of the ancestors. Kofi listened, his heart full, as the ghost of his sister filled the gaps in his soul, knitting together the fragments of his orphaned heart with threads of spectral love. And under the baobab tree, a new chapter of his life began to unfold, guided by the whispers of the spirits and the undying bond of family. As the moon climbed higher, bathing the savannah in a silvery glow, Amma told Kofi about the days when they were both children, playing under the vast skies, their laughter mingling with the wind. She spoke of how, upon her untimely departure from the world of the living, she had watched over him, her presence a silent guardian that even he unknowingly felt during his loneliest times. "Why did you never show yourself before?" Kofi asked, his voice a soft whisper against the symphony of the night. "The spirits decreed it," Amma replied, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "They bound me to the shadows until you were ready to understand, until your heart could grasp the depth of our connection without fear." This revelation hung in the air between them, a truth that danced with the leaves of the baobab tree. Kofi felt the solitude of his past years weigh less heavily upon him, knowing Ama's spirit had been his unseen companion. As he absorbed this, the air around them thrummed with the energy of ancestral spirits, approving their reunion. Ama continued, weaving tales of the spirit world, a place of colors unseen and songs unheard by human ears. She described realms where time flowed differently, where ancient spirits guided the destinies of those living, always balancing the scales between the seen and the unseen. In this realm I learned of our family's legacy, Ama said, her voice resonating with the wisdom of the ancients. Our lineage is tied to the protectors of the land, the keepers of the natural order. You, Kofi, are the last of this line, and with my passing, a part of this responsibility now rests upon you. Kofi, his mind alight with images of mystical realms and his family's legacy, felt a surge of purpose. This was more than a simple tale. It was an inheritance of duty, passed down through generations, now resting in his hands. Ama taught him the sacred chants and rituals that fortified their bond to the land, ensuring he understood the magnitude of his role. As dawn approached, painting the horizon in hues of orange and purple, Ama's form began to fade, like mist under the sun's first rays. Our time tonight is short, she said, her voice growing fainter. But I will be with you when the moon is generous with her light. Learn well the chants I have taught you, for they are the keys to understanding the voices of the wind, the whispers of the earth. Kofi nodded, a solemn vow unspoken between them. He watched as the last vestiges of her presence dissolved into the morning light, leaving behind a heart fortified by newfound knowledge and a soul connected more deeply to the world unseen. As the village stirred to life, the mundane sounds of morning, clucking chickens, the distant calls of cattle, felt distant to Kofi's newly awakened senses. He returned to the hut he shared with Nana Afia, the spiritual teachings echoing in his mind, a sacred melody only he could hear. Throughout the day, as he performed his chores, Kofi's thoughts were never far from the night's revelations. He practiced the chants under his breath, each word a thread weaving him tighter into the fabric of his ancestral duties. He looked to the sky, to the earth, to the baobab tree, seeing them all not just as parts of his world, but as partners in the sacred dance of life and spirit. As the sun set once again, turning the sky to fire and shadow, Kofi prepared for the night, eager for the return of the moon's generosity, when Ama would come again. He felt a connection to something eternal, a line stretching back through generations, and forward into a future where he was a guardian, a brother, and a son of the spirits. His heart, once orphaned, now beat with the pulse of a legacy that would never again let him walk alone. As the moon ascended, a gleaming orb against the velvet night, Kofi positioned himself beneath the ancient baobab once more. The air vibrated with the anticipation of Ama's return. The stars, witnesses to countless cycles of life and death, shone with a knowing twinkle. He traced the patterns of constellations, feeling their age-old stories pulse through the night. Tonight, Ama's arrival was marked by a gentle breeze, carrying the scent of rain on dry soil. Her form coalesced from the whispering wind, more radiant than before, as if the moon's embrace had lent her spectral form greater substance. "Welcome, Ama," Kofi greeted, his voice steady with the calm of one who has accepted the surreal as part of his existence. "Thank you, Kofi. Your heart's readiness brightens my presence," Ama replied, her smile a curve of moonlight. She motioned for him to sit beside her under the sprawling limbs of the baobab. "Tonight we delve deeper into the essence of our land, the spirits that protect it, and the rituals that sustain its balance." Kofi listened intently as Ama recounted the origins of their people, a tale woven into the fabric of the savannah itself. She spoke of the first ancestor who had walked these lands, her voice painting images of ancient warriors and wise women who had harnessed the energies of the earth to nourish and protect their descendants. "These warriors and seers were our forebears," Ama explained, her eyes alight with the pride of lineage. "They communicated with the earth and sky, and their powers were bestowed upon them by the spirits who watch over us." She taught Kofi the ancient signs used to invoke these spirits, each gesture a powerful symbol that connected the physical world to the spiritual. Kofi practiced under Ama's watchful gaze, his movements initially awkward but growing in confidence with each repetition. "Remember, each motion is a word in the language of the spirits," Ama instructed. "With these, you can converse with the energies that swirl unseen around us." The lessons stretched deep into the night, the sky slowly wheeling above them. Ama explained how the balance of nature was maintained, how each creature, each plant, and each gust of wind played a role in the grand symphony of existence. Our role as keepers is to ensure harmony, to address disruptions, and to guide our people in maintaining the delicate equilibrium between taking from the land and giving back to it, she continued, her tone imbued with the solemnity of their duty. As the eastern horizon hinted at dawn, Amma's form began to wane, her time drawing to a close. We will meet again and I will share more, but remember, what I teach you must also be passed down, so the knowledge does not perish with you. Kofi nodded, understanding the weight of his responsibilities. He watched as she faded, her form becoming one with the morning mist that rose with the sun. The knowledge she imparted settled within him, roots deepening, an unbreakable connection to his land and his ancestors strengthening with each passing moment. The village awoke as Kofi returned to his routine, the normalcy of daylight hours juxtaposing sharply with the mystical experiences of the night. Yet, each task he performed was now infused with a greater sense of purpose. He wasn't merely tending to the land, he was communing with it, an ongoing dialogue between the past and the present, guided by the teachings of his spectral sister. As the day faded into another night, Kofi prepared once more for the teachings under the moon's watchful eye, each evening a stepping stone into the vast unseen world that buzzed beneath the surface of his daily life. His journey had become an intertwining of the spiritual and the terrestrial, each element educating him on the profound tapestry of life, guarded by the spirits of his ancestors, forever resonating with the heartbeat of the African savanna. The celestial vault was a tapestry of dark velvet sprinkled with stars by the time Kofi made his way to the venerable baobab. The night was unusually quiet, the usual chorus of nocturnal creatures subdued, as if the savanna itself held its breath in anticipation of the wisdom about to unfold. Amma appeared as the first sliver of the moon crested the horizon, her presence now familiar, yet always imbued with a mystic aura. Tonight, her countenance bore a solemnity that immediately commanded Kofi's attention. Tonight we explore the deeper currents that govern the spirits of our ancestors and the forces that weave through the fabric of our reality, Amma announced, her voice echoing slightly, blending with the rustle of the baobab leaves. Kofi settled on the earth, his posture reflecting the seriousness of their nocturnal meeting. He watched intently as Amma traced symbols in the air, each one glowing faintly before dissipating into the night. These are the sigils of binding and release, she explained. They are used to bind energies that disrupt the balance and to release energies that need to flow freely. Mastery of these sigils is essential for a keeper of the balance. Kofi repeated the gestures, his fingers drawing complex patterns that felt charged with an unseen energy. The air around him seemed to thrum with power, responding to the ancient sigils that had protected his people for generations. Amma then shifted the topic to the natural elements, earth, water, air, and fire. She described how each element could be honored and invoked, their energies harnessed to heal, to protect, and to purify. The earth nurtures and supports, water cleanses and renews, air carries prayers and visions, fire transforms and energizes, she recounted, her voice a melodious whisper. As a keeper, you must understand and respect these forces, for they are the foundation of all life and the keys to its sustenance. As they delved into the rituals associated with each element, Kofi felt a connection to the land pulsing stronger within him. He learned chants that spoke of rain and growth, and dances that mimicked the flow of rivers and the crackle of fire. Each ritual strengthens your bond with the land and its spirits, Amma instructed. Through these practices, you become a conduit for the energies that sustain all living things. The lesson stretched into the early hours, with the moon watching silently, a guardian of their sacred space. Amma's teachings filled Kofi with a profound respect for his heritage and a burgeoning sense of capability in his role as a keeper. As the eastern sky began to pale, heralding the approach of dawn, Amma's form started to fade, her energy waning with the night. Remember, these teachings are not just for you to keep but to share, she reminded Kofi as she prepared to depart. The balance is maintained not by one, but by the collective efforts of all who dwell within the land. Kofi nodded, his heart swelling with pride and a newfound sense of duty. As Amma disappeared with the last shadows of night, he felt more anchored to his role than ever before. The village awoke to another day, and Kofi engaged in his daily tasks with a deeper understanding. Each interaction with the earth, water, air, and fire throughout his day was now imbued with a sacred significance. He wasn't just a villager performing chores. He was a keeper engaging in a continuous living dialogue with the natural world. As the sun set once more, signaling the close of another day, Kofi prepared for the evening's ritual practices. His actions were deliberate, each step and word a reaffirmation of his commitment to the balance. He was no longer just learning, he was practicing, preparing, becoming the keeper Amma knew he could be. The savannah under the vast sky was both his charge and his mentor, its whispers lessons in the delicate art of balance and harmony. As dusk melded into night, Kofi approached the sacred site beneath the expansive arms of the baobab, the air filled with the crisp scent of impending rain. The savannah, a vast expanse under the canopy of stars, seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the night's secrets to unfold. Amma materialized with the first whisper of the evening breeze, her form clearer and more radiant than ever before under the waxing moon. Her smile was a beacon in the twilight, reassuring and warm. Tonight we delve into the art of healing and protection, vital skills for a keeper, Amma began, her voice resonant with the gravity of their subject. These are not merely methods to mend what is broken, but ways to fortify and preempt the erosion of vitality. Kofi sat cross-legged on the ground, his gaze fixed on his sister, ready to absorb every element of the wisdom she offered. Amma reached into the air, pulling forth strands of moonlight to form symbols that shimmered in the night. First the healing, she said, outlining the first symbol, which glowed softly blue. This is the mark of restoration, used to soothe ailments of the body and the spirit. It draws on the energy of water and earth to cleanse and replenish. Kofi mimicked her movements, his hands trembling slightly with the effort to precisely replicate the intricate symbol. A coolness swept through him as he traced the mark, soothing his skin where the night air had raised goosebumps. Now, for protection, Amma continued, her hands weaving a more complex design that sparked with a subtle fire. This sigil harnesses the power of fire and air to create a barrier against harm. It is used to guard our people, our lands, and the balance itself. As Kofi practiced the sigils, the elements seemed to respond to his call, the air swirling around him, the distant rumble of thunder speaking of fire's imminent dance with the earth. Each gesture and chant connected him deeper to the forces that governed life around him, his respect for them growing with each breath. With these skills, you can shield and heal. But remember, the true strength of a keeper lies in knowing when to use them, Amma instructed, her eyes piercing into the depths of his soul. Discernment is your ally, and restraint your companion. The night deepened as they practiced, the stars wheeling overhead in their silent arc. Amma shared tales of past keepers, their triumphs and their trials, imbuing Kofi with not only the knowledge of his duties, but the wisdom of his predecessors. These stories wrapped around him like the winds of the savannah, binding him to his lineage and his destiny. As dawn neared, painting the horizon in hues of amber and rose, Amma's form began to wane, her energy dissipating with the night. She smiled, a poignant curve of light in the dwindling darkness. "Carry these teachings close to your heart, Kofi," she said, as her form dissolved into the morning light. "The balance you protect is not just of the land, but of all who share it." The day broke fully, and Kofi returned to his grandmother's hut, his mind and spirit teeming with the new layers of understanding imparted by Amma. Each step he took was more confident, each decision imbued with the wisdom of the keepers who walked before him. Throughout the day, Kofi applied his new knowledge, practicing the healing and protective sigils in secret, away from the prying eyes of the uninitiated. He felt the earth and air, fire and water respond to him, a symphony of elements at his fingertips, a dialogue between the keeper and the kept. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the savannah, Kofi prepared for another night of learning. Each evening was a step further into his role, each lesson a thread in the rich tapestry of his duties as a keeper. The land and its spirits whispered to him, a constant murmur in his ears, teaching him, guiding him, affirming his path under the guardian moon. As twilight embraced the village, Kofi settled beneath the ancient baobab, the evening air alive with the scent of blooming flowers and the distant call of night birds. The stars began their nightly parade across the heavens, casting a celestial glow that seemed to sanctify the ground beneath him. Tonight, Amma's arrival was heralded by a gentle gust that rustled the leaves, her appearance more ethereal than ever. Her presence brought a profound silence, a sacred stillness that commanded reverence. This evening we explore the spiritual paths that connect our world to the hereafter, the bridges between the living and the spirits, Amma announced, her tone imbued with the gravity of their discourse. Understanding these paths will grant you the ability to guide the spirits and interpret their desires. Kofi listened, captivated by the depth of the secrets being unveiled. Amma began to describe the pathways that the spirits traveled, invisible threads woven through the very fabric of the air, connecting the tangible to the transcendent. These pathways are navigated during the rituals of passage, during celebrations of life and commemorations of departure, she explained, her hands sketching the outlines of ancient symbols in the air, each one a beacon on the spiritual highways. Kofi's eyes followed her movements, his mind absorbing every detail as he replicated the intricate symbols. The air around them seemed to pulse with an unseen energy, responding to the ancient rites being revisited. Each symbol acts as a guidepost, a light in the darkness for those who journey between realms. Amma continued, her voice a whisper that seemed to blend with the wind. By mastering these, you will serve as a bridge, ensuring safe passage and communication between our people and the ancestors. The training took on a rhythmic cadence, with Kofi echoing Amma's chants and movements, each repetition a step deeper into the spiritual realm that governed their existence. The night sky served as their canopy, the stars and the waxing moon their silent witnesses. As they delved deeper, Amma shared stories of the keepers before Kofi, those who had stood where he now stood, under the same sprawling branches of the baobab. She recounted their challenges and achievements, weaving a rich history that connected Kofi to his forebears in a tapestry of duty and devotion. Their experiences are lessons for you, she intoned. The spirits of these keepers linger, their wisdom embedded in the land, in the very air we breathe. The lessons stretched into the night, each story a gem of knowledge, each symbol a key to unlocking the mysteries of the spirit world. Kofi's heart swelled with pride, and a touch of sorrow for those who had walked this path before him, their lives a blend of sacrifice and service. As the first light of dawn tinged the horizon with pink and gold, Amma began to fade, her form dissipating into the morning mist that rose from the earth. Remember, the balance you keep affects not just the living, but also the ancestral spirits who watch over us, she said, her voice fading like a song on the wind. Honor them, learn from them, and keep the pathways clear. Kofi sat for a long moment after she had gone, the silence around him rich with the night's teachings. As the village awoke around him, he felt a deeper connection to the unseen world than ever before. Each breath a conversation with the past, each step a continuation of a legacy woven through generations. The day passed with Kofi applying his new understanding, his actions reflective of the deep respect and reverence he had cultivated for the spiritual pathways and the keepers who had traversed them. As evening approached again, he prepared himself for another night under the stars, ready to further his communion with the spiritual forces that shaped his world. As the evening shadows lengthened and the sky deepened to a rich indigo, Kofi made his way to his customary spot beneath the sprawling limbs of the ancient baobab. The air was thick with the fragrance of night-blooming jasmine, and a chorus of cicadas sang the hymn of the coming night. Amma appeared as a silhouette against the twilight, her form gradually taking on the familiar, comforting glow that Kofi had come to associate with wisdom and tranquility. Her arrival was always a gentle reminder of the eternal cycle of day into night, of life into spirit. Tonight we focus on the celebration of the cycles, of life, of seasons, and of time, Amma began, her voice resonating with the rhythmic pulse of the earth. Each cycle holds significance, and to honor these is to maintain the harmony of our world. Kofi nodded, his heart attuned to the lessons of continuity and change. Amma guided him through the traditional rituals that marked these cycles, rites of planting and harvest, of birth and coming of age, of passing and remembrance. Observe the moon, Amma instructed, pointing to the crescent that hung like a bow in the sky. Just as it waxes and wanes, so too do the energies of life. By aligning our rituals with these phases, we ensure the flow of energy that sustains our community and our land. She taught Kofi the chants and dances specific to each phase of the moon, explaining how each movement and word drew upon the energies of the cosmos to reinforce the cycles of growth and renewal on Earth. The movements were intricate, each step and turn imbued with centuries of tradition and spiritual significance. Kofi practiced under Ama's watchful eye, his body slowly memorizing the flow of motions, his mind absorbing the profound connection these rituals had to the world around him. The land itself seemed to respond, the night air vibrating with the power of unseen forces stirred by his practice. Ama then shared tales of the great festivals, times when the entire community came together to honor these cycles. She described the vibrant costumes, the music that filled the air, drums beating in a rhythm that echoed the heartbeat of the earth. "These celebrations are not merely for joy," Ama said, her tone imbued with nostalgia and reverence. "They are a reaffirmation of our commitment to the cycles that govern all life, a communal pact with the forces that weave the fabric of our existence." As they continued, the stars marched across the sky, their steady progression a mirror to the lessons of the night. Kofi felt a deepening sense of his place within this vast tapestry, a thread connected to the myriad others through the cycles of time and spirit. With the approach of dawn, as the eastern sky began to lighten, Ama's presence started to fade, her energy diminishing with the night. "Carry these lessons into your days," she whispered, her form becoming one with the morning light. "Let them guide you as you honor the cycles, as you celebrate and sustain the harmony of our world." Kofi remained seated, a solitary figure under the baobab, long after Ama had departed. The first rays of the sun painted the horizon in shades of orange and gold, a daily rebirth that mirrored his own renewal through the night's teachings. Throughout the day, Kofi reflected on the cycles and their significance, seeing the rhythms of life play out around him, from the children playing in the dust to the elders sharing stories in the shade. Each moment was a part of the cycles Ama had spoken of, each action a thread in the continuous weave of existence. As the day gave way to another evening, Kofi prepared once more for his nocturnal teachings, ready to deepen his understanding and his connection to the spiritual and terrestrial realms that danced together under the ancestral sky. Each night was a step further into his role, each lesson a deeper integration into the pulse of the land and its legacy. Night settled over the village with a serene grace, draping the landscape in a tapestry of shadows and moonlight. Kofi approached the baobab, the ancient sentinel of the village, its vast branches reaching out like arms ready to embrace the sky. The air was cool, carrying the subtle fragrance of the savanna after dusk, a blend of earth and foliage refreshed by the evening dew. As the first stars pricked the darkening sky, Ama materialized, her presence now as much a part of the night as the moon above. Her arrival was heralded by a slight breeze, stirring the leaves into a soft whispering. "Tonight we explore the role of the keeper in times of transition," Ama began, her voice a gentle echo in the stillness. "Transitions are not merely changes, they are the portals through which the community must pass, guided by wisdom and foresight." Kofi sat attentively, his spirit open and ready to receive the deep teachings his sister offered. Ama outlined the responsibilities of a keeper during transitions, whether they be changes in leadership, shifts in social norms, or the natural alterations in the environment. During these times, the keeper's role is to serve as a beacon, a stabilizer amidst the flux, she explained. Her hands moved through the air, drawing symbols that glowed with a soft light, illustrating her words with visual aids that seemed to float in the air between them. Kofi absorbed each symbol, each a representation of stability, guidance, and harmony. He practiced forming them in the air, feeling the energy shift around him as if responding to his newfound understanding. Ama then spoke of the ancestors, their trials during times of great change, and how they had navigated the challenges with dignity and strength. "Their experiences are inscribed in the spirit of our people, in the stories shared, and in the lessons passed down through generations," she said, her tone resonant with the weight of history. "The keeper must draw upon these ancestral teachings, using them to inform decisions and to guide the community," Ama continued. She taught Kofi specific chants and rituals that had been used in the past to invoke the wisdom of the ancestors, to seek their guidance during pivotal moments. As the night progressed, the teachings took on a rhythmic quality, with Kofi echoing Ama's chants, their voices blending into the nocturnal symphony of the savannah. Each chant, each symbol was a thread in the rich fabric of their cultural heritage, each ritual a reaffirmation of his role within the community. With the approach of dawn, Ama's form began to shimmer, preparing to retreat as the first light of the sun touched the horizon. "Embrace these teachings, Kofi," she said, her image starting to fade. "Use them to navigate the transitions, to uphold the harmony and integrity of our people." Kofi watched silently as she dissolved into the morning mist, her words lingering in his mind like the fading echoes of a dream. He remained seated, contemplating the vastness of his responsibilities, the depth of the wisdom imparted to him, and the path that lay ahead. As the village awoke, Kofi moved through his day with a renewed sense of purpose. Each interaction, each decision was influenced by the night's teachings. He felt more attuned to the subtle shifts within the community, more aware of his role in guiding them through the ever-changing tapestry of life. The day passed, and with the return of night, Kofi prepared once again to meet Amma beneath the baobab. Each evening brought new layers of understanding, each lesson a deeper connection to the spirits, the land, and the people he was destined to guide. Under the veil of stars, he continued to learn, to grow, and to prepare for the role he was chosen to fulfill, anchored by the wisdom of the ancestors and driven by the cycles of the cosmos. The night was alive with the gentle hum of the savannah as Kofi made his way to the ancient baobab. The stars hung like scattered beads on the vast dark canvas above, each one pulsing with the stories of old. The moon, a thin crescent, bathed the landscape in a soft silvery glow, illuminating the path to wisdom beneath the tree's embracing branches. As the nocturnal chorus of insects played their rhythmic tune, Amma materialized, her form a luminescent echo in the twilight. Her presence, always a comforting sign, brought with it a sense of peace and a reminder of the deep ties that bound Kofi to the past and the present. "Tonight, we address the keeper's role in fostering unity within the community," Amma began, her voice harmonizing with the whisper of the night breeze. "Unity is the strength that binds the fabric of the community, making it resilient against the forces of disruption." Kofi settled into the familiar pattern of learning, his heart and mind open to the profound insights his sister would impart. Amma guided him through the principles of mediation and reconciliation, essential skills for any keeper tasked with maintaining peace and harmony. "Conflict, when it arises, must be met not with force but with understanding and wisdom," she instructed. Her hands traced patterns in the air, creating symbols of harmony and peace that glowed with a gentle blue light. "These symbols are tools for the keeper, used to calm storms of discontent and to heal wounds of division." Kofi practiced the gestures, each movement smooth and deliberate, feeling the calm energy emanating from the symbols as they faded into the night air. The teachings felt like rain on parched earth, seeping deep into his consciousness, nourishing his capacity to lead and unify. Amma recounted tales of ancient disputes that had been resolved by the keepers of old, each story a testament to the power of balanced judgment and compassionate leadership. These narratives are not just history, they are lessons in the art of unity, blueprints for building bridges over troubled waters, she said, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of ages. As the session continued, Kofi learned chants that invoked the spirit of community, each word a thread in the web of collective consciousness. Amma taught him dances that were performed at community gatherings, designed to reinforce the bonds of fellowship and cooperation. The dance, the chant, the symbol, each is a note in the symphony of unity, Amma explained. Together, they create a melody that resonates within the soul of the community, reminding all of their interconnected fate. The night slowly yielded to the approach of dawn, the stars dimming as the eastern sky began to brighten with streaks of pink and orange. Amma's form began to fade with the waning darkness, her final words a gentle instruction. "Embrace these teachings, Kofi. Let them guide you in fostering a community where each voice is heard and every heart is valued." Kofi remained seated, absorbing the silence that followed her departure. The lessons of the night resonated within him, a deep vibrational truth that connected him more profoundly to his role as keeper. As the sun rose, casting golden light over the village, Kofi walked back to his daily life, each step imbued with the knowledge and the responsibility of his role. Throughout the day, he interacted with his fellow villagers, not just as a young man among them, but as a keeper, a custodian of peace and unity, guided by the ancestral winds and the wisdom of his spectral mentor. As evening fell once again, Kofi prepared for another night beneath the stars, ready to continue his learning and to strengthen his ability to serve and protect the harmony of his community. As dusk painted the savannah in hues of amber and violet, Kofi walked toward the ancient baobab, the evening breeze carrying the scents of wildflowers and earth. The sky slowly transitioned from twilight to the deep blue of night, and the first stars began to twinkle overhead, setting the stage for a profound conclusion to his nightly teachings. Amma appeared with the gentleness of falling night, her luminous form more radiant than ever, signaling the special significance of this final session. Her smile was both melancholy and proud as she regarded Kofi, who had grown not just in knowledge but in spirit under her guidance. Tonight, we culminate our time together with the understanding of legacy, the importance of passing on what has been learned, Amma announced, her voice echoing softly around them. You have been imbued with the wisdom of the keepers, and it is your duty to ensure that this knowledge does not fade but flourishes. Kofi nodded, deeply aware of the weight of the legacy he was about to fully inherit. His heart was a mix of gratitude and determination, ready to accept the mantle that his lineage bestowed upon him. Amma guided him through the sacred rites of succession, ancient ceremonies that marked the passage of wisdom from one keeper to the next. These rituals are a celebration of continuity, a reaffirmation of the keeper's role within the community, and a declaration of commitment to the spirits and the people, she explained. She taught him the final symbols and chants, each more complex and powerful than the last, their execution a dance of precise movements and spoken words that wove the fabric of spiritual and communal bonds. The power of a keeper lies not only in maintaining balance and harmony, but in inspiring others to uphold these principles, Amma continued. Her hands moved gracefully, sketching patterns that glowed against the backdrop of the night, each one a testament to the roles and responsibilities Kofi was to fulfill. As they practiced the rituals, the land around them seemed to acknowledge Kofi's readiness to step into his role. The wind carried whispers of approval from the ancestors, the earth beneath his feet thrummed with energy, and the sky above seemed to open, embracing him as a true guardian of his people. With the approach of midnight, Amma's form started to shimmer, preparing for her final departure. My time with you here is complete, Kofi, but remember, I am always with you, as are all the ancestors. We are just a whisper away, within the breath of the wind, the rustle of the leaves, and the flow of the river. Kofi felt a surge of emotion as he faced Amma, his heart full of love and respect for the sister who had guided him through the shadows into the light of his full potential. Thank you, Amma, for everything, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Amma's smile was tender, her eyes bright with tears that never quite fell. Be wise, be brave, and be kind, Kofi. Let these teachings not only guide you, but also lead the community to thrive under your watch. With those final words, she faded completely, her presence dissolving into the night air, leaving a trail of luminous particles that slowly vanished like stars at dawn. Kofi sat beneath the baobab until the first light of dawn streaked the sky, reflecting on everything he had learned. As the village stirred to life, he felt a renewed sense of purpose energize him. He was ready to step forward as the new keeper, to honor the legacy of his ancestors, and to guide his people with wisdom and love. As he walked back to the village, the sun rising behind him, his shadow long on the earth, Kofi knew that this was not an ending but a new beginning, a continuation of a story that was as old as the land itself. Under the watchful eyes of the spirits and the guiding light of the stars, Kofi embraced his role as the guardian of his people, custodian of the balance, and bearer of the ancestral legacy.